And we're back with a quick Rimworld tutorial. And today we're going to be testing weapon percentage capture chances, or well, how likely you are to down a pawn as opposed to kill them. And at the same time, we're going to check what is the best weapon to give a low-level pawn to up their shooting skill. Now this is just a testing scenario. It's quite simplistic. All the pawns run down this single track towards one person armed with a specific weapon we're testing at the time. And then at the end, we see how many of them are still alive. And then after we see how many of them are still alive, we check to see if any of them have got any horrific brain damage injuries, because I think there's a little bit of a sway towards one gun causing a few more brain damage injuries than others, but there's no brain damage there, so both of those pawns are perfectly acceptable. Then we repeat this test 5 times, sum it up, and then we move on to the next weapon set, do it again and again and again. So let's just skip through to the numbers. This here is what all the numbers came out at. Bizarrely enough, the SMG, auto pistol, charge rifle, and assault rifle all came out at downing 0.8 pawns every round. The machine pistol, however, came out at 1.4. I found it very odd that all of these weapons came in at pretty much the exact same number. So I decided I want to test the machine pistol a couple of more times just to make sure this is just not some weird fluke of numbers. In our next test, the machine pistol actually downed slightly more, but 2 of them had brain injuries. That's why those 2 stars are there. So I put it on -2, and it still came out at 1, averaging 1 downed prisoner per 10 pawns shot. Then the third test I did came out at 1.4, again, matching the exact one up here at the top. Which, okay, so that means it quite consistently seems to score better than an SMG, auto pistol, charge rifle, and assault rifle. So this was effectively 200 tests versus 150, and this one is consistently coming out ahead. I was advised before that there's no difference in what weapon you use, and then other people have said the machine pistol is great. It would appear the machine pistol definitely has an advantage. However, why does it have an advantage? Currently, the best theory is it's very low damage per hit. It has the lowest damage of any weapon in the game. Even the sentry launcher does more damage per hit than this thing. So at a tiny amount of damage per hit, it just seems that the odds of it downing an opponent seem to increase, or the odds of it killing or downing them seem to increase. I'm not sure which. The theory I have is that there's this sweet spot where the enemy has taken enough damage that there's the potential for them to go down, but not the potential for them to actually die. At which point, you keep shooting them and you just increase your chances slightly of them going down during that particular window. However, a way to test this would be, what if we equipped all of the pawns with legendary machine pistols? That would up the damage by 50%. This here is a legendary machine pistol. It has a 50% bonus to its damage, so you see up here, base value up there in the top right, I can't move the cursor without it disappearing, is 6. It gets a quality multiplier of 150 because it's legendary, so it actually ends up as a value of 9. That means every pawn is doing 9 damage instead of 6. So as these pawns slowly slowpoke their way down here and get shot, they should be taking more damage and less of them should survive, so we should be seeing worse numbers on surviving colonists. Actually, according to the numbers, it's slightly better. It comes out at 1.8 for the machine pistol legendary. Okay, I'm not exactly sure why it works out slightly better. It just seems that it definitely does work out a little bit better. You know what? Let's just run one more round of testing on these weapons just to be sure, because I have no idea why that's happening. I just know that all the numbers so far have pointed me this way. Our second round of testing showed a marked improvement on several of the weapons. The SMG2, the auto pistol both doubled their capture rate. However, the charge rifle did cause a brain injury, and the assault rifle was only slightly better than its previous showings. Then what I did was I just averaged both the tests. I just combined them up, and it's about 1.2, 1.2, 0.9, and 1. So the charge rifle and the assault rifle seem to definitely lag behind the SMG and the auto pistol. I'm not quite sure why, and I averaged all of the tests of the machine pistol, all 200 testing rounds, and it came out at about 1.4. That's excluding, of course, those 2. We -2 from this one because there was 2 brain injuries. So by and large, from what I can see, it doesn't really matter how much damage you're doing or not. The odds of them going down is pretty much set. Using the charge rifle and the assault rifle, both of them turned out quite badly, even though the charge rifle has much higher damage per hit. As far as I can see, there's not really a big difference. Over a large enough sample size, you're going to down what you're going to down, machine pistol or not. Though maybe just stay away from the charge rifle. That thing seems to just shred whatever it touches. Things with slightly lower damages or some of the lower end weapons seem to do slightly better, but not by a huge margin. So yeah, machine pistol, is it a better at capturing? Maybe a little bit, but not by a large margin. I'll attach this save if you want to do your own testing. The mod I use is Character Editor. It allows you to just change the weapons or loadout of any pawn instantly. So if you do want to do your testing, just load up this save, equip them with whatever weapon you want, and you can test them to your heart's content. Maybe 200 rounds of testing was not enough. Maybe it takes a much larger sample size to get a more accurate reading, but as far as I can tell, most weapons are pretty much the same. Next up, testing which weapon is best to use for leveling up your pawns. Now, there's a mechanic here I didn't realize until I started testing. If we just slowly start this up here, that person just fired. They were on, what was it? They were on 311, 3111. Now they've gone up to 3189. Right, and then they fire again, it goes up a little bit more. Now, if we check, say, the sniper rifle here, all of these started at the exact same level, every single gun. So all the guns, all the pawns were shooting with the exact same level of skill at the start. So their progress should remain, well, it should change depending on how frequently they're firing, correct? So this one just is at 3801. We'll check the auto pistol, and they're at 3730. This one over here is at 3682. So the sniper rifle seems to be in the lead, but it's really to do, they've balanced it out as far as I can tell. Depending on how long the wind-up, cooldown, and all that of a weapon is, they've pretty much evened it all out. And it's all based on time on the trigger, how long you're shooting. So they do get their experience when they pull the trigger and when the shot goes off. So if someone was to say aim up a sniper rifle shot and then get cut off at the last second, they would have lost all that time. But so long as you're just aiming and shooting at a target, your experience will go up at the exact same, well, almost the exact same rate depending on what weapon you're using, even if it's a bow. So they all just go up. For example, we'll just have the bow fire here. There we go, 3944. And just after it's fired, we can check it against all the other ones here. And they're all about the same. Well, they're all a little bit lower because the bows they just fire, some of them were mid-fire animation. So yeah, you can see there the SMG just fired and it's pretty much at identical numbers. So it doesn't really matter what weapon you give them, what its rate of fire it is, anything like that. All it's to do with is how long it takes you to kill the creatures you're trying to kill and how much time you spend on the trigger. That's it. First weapons we're going to test are the bolt action, light machine gun, auto pistol, assault rifle, sniper, great bow, SMG, charge rifle, minigun. Now, to test all of those, we've got ourselves a nice little testing box. We have 3 animals, each one in a corner, and then we have 3 pawns standing in the opposite corner, all armed with the appropriate weapon of choice that we're trying to test. Then we simply unpause the game, we let them all run around and do their thing, shooting everything that moves until all the hunted animals are dead. Once all the hunted animals are dead, we go around and we check out the XP on all of these. They're all at level 4 XP. So I wanted to try and simulate what it's like when you're leveling up some of those extremely weak shooters that you're trying to take from very low level to very high level. So once we add all of these up, let's have a quick look at the numbers. Numbers-wise here, all you care about is the average at the bottom. Bigger is better, as in that's how much experience they gained. So on average, each pawn using a bolt action gained 261 experience. LMG came out second, auto pistol third, assault rifle fourth, sniper rifle fifth. The great bow, SMG, charge rifle, and minigun all came up the rear quite a far bit behind. Now, next round of testing. Pretty much identical to the round before, except this time we double down. We now have 6 people armed with pistols, 6 people armed with bolts, 6 people armed with snipers, 6 people armed with assault rifles, and 6 people armed with the LMG. Just to see, well, if the numbers hold up on a larger testing pattern. Sort of a face-off between the top 5. Looking at the numbers, this time the sniper came out on top by quite a large margin. Auto pistol came second, bolt action third, the assault and the LMG came up way back further in the rear. Now, this got me thinking that maybe this has something to do with the size of the testing area. Let me show you what I mean. This here is the range on a sniper rifle, and before the sniper rifle was not actually able to use its range to its full advantage as the testing area was too small. So for the next round of testing, we have drastically increased the size of the area. That way, no one can actually, so for example, none of these sniper rifles can actually just stand where they are. They have to go out and hunt them down. It just means there's no issue with range causing them to have to get closer than they really need to. And then what we do is we have 12. We have 12 pawns all going after 12 different animals. The reason we have 12 on 12 is only one pawn can hunt an animal at a time, so we have to kind of do it that way. Then we just run them all and see which one comes out on top. The sniper rifle wins, but not by much more than from the bolt action. The bolt action was actually very close behind it. And the auto pistol, unfortunately, has really dropped off. Once these snipers and bolt actions got enough room to play around with, it showed how they shone. Since the sniper won out over the bolt action, just barely, I thought we'd check to see quality of weapon as well. For example, this is a poor sniper rifle. Over here, we've got a good sniper rifle. And over here, we have an awful sniper rifle. Just to see if the different quality of weapons makes a difference to... Well, what we're really trying to do here is make it take longer and longer for them to kill the animals. The longer it takes them to kill the animals, the more shots they get off. The more shots they get off, the more experience they gain. So we're kind of looking to miss a lot. Now, one recommendation people use is, get them stoned on smoke leaf and then they'll miss a lot more. Also, that will slow down their consciousness and make them move slower, so it'll take them longer to get out to hunt, and it will also take them longer to get back. And if an animal does go feral, they'll probably die because they won't be able to run away. However, in the testing here, the numbers got a bit weird. This was the first round of testing for the sniper with the awful, poor, and good rifle. The awful rifle definitely was the best at being the worst. Yeah, it's weird here. We're trying to... The more experience they gained, it means the more shots they took. So being an awful sniper rifle and missing a lot meant, yes, they scored really well. However, the good rifle missed more than the poor rifle. So the poor rifle actually scored higher. In fact, the poor rifle scored almost equal to the sniper, a normal sniper rifle, and the good rifle came out way worse for some reason. I don't know why. So I decided to do a quick other round of testing. This is another round of testing, and awful was again pretty good at being bad at hitting things. Poor actually scored even better again. It got more hits for some reason, and the good rifle actually did, just about the same as normal. I'm not too sure. All I know is an awful sniper rifle is probably your best choice. On a whim, I tested an excellent masterwork and legendary sniper rifle just to see how they hold up. And it's hard to see here because once let me zoom out a bit. The excellent sniper rifle here got about the same score as the poor sniper rifle did. Now, bear in mind, we're only testing about 12 animals at a time, so it's not the largest sample size you could possibly do. Masterwork, however, did nail things down a bit, and legendary got about the same score as excellent. So from what I can tell, if you're dealing with pawns with a level 4 shooting skill, which is what we're doing here, all of these pawns have level 4 shooting skill. Their accuracy is just, it's roulette. When you're shooting at an animal, the chances of them hitting them are, with a sniper rifle or a bolt action, are pretty terrible. You might get lucky, you might get unlucky. It's effectively a roll of the dice. So at this kind of low levels, give them a sniper or a bolt action. If you give them some of the closer range weapons like the SMG, the charge rifle, the assault rifle, all those ones, they have to get closer to the target, and the closer they are to the target, the more likely they are to hit, just in general. So for experience gain, nothing's going to give you a faster bonus. You just got to spend as long as possible shooting at the targets. Sniper and bolt action, it seems, are the kings. In the testing, we were using alpacas as targets. If you're shooting at smaller things like rats and things like that, it'll be harder to hit them and you'll probably get more experience out of it. But I thought it'd be interesting to figure out how many alpacas it would take to level up a pawn. So let's imagine you had the awful sniper rifle. This is the average experience gained per alpaca killed, and this is an average of the charge gun, minigun, and SMG, and that's the amount of experience you would gain on average using one of those subpar weapons for doing it. To go from level 4 to level 5 costs 5,000 experience, so you'd have to shoot 11 alpacas with your awful sniper rifle to level up a pawn. It would take, with any of these guns, it'd take an average of about 63 alpacas. So depending on what your map has, it might be an idea to maybe find an awful sniper rifle for those you're really trying to train up. Now, do bear in mind, they're not going to be the type of pawns who will bring home the bacon. They are going to be the type of pawns who'll go out, shoot at something for 8 hours of the day, go home, fall asleep, wake up, and go back and shoot at the same animal again. And then somewhere around the third night, that animal will bleed out from, the grazes it got during the day. If you want to take a pawn all the way from level 0 shooting to level 10 shooting, and this is assuming, of course, that they have no passion for it, which is usually the ones you want to train the hardest, it would take you 113 dead alpacas. Or if you're using a substandard approach using one of the less useful rifles, 693 alpacas. Damn, that's a lot of alpacas. This would also gel with what I recall. On my last playthrough, I started equipping some of the later hunters I was trying to train with charge rifles, and they trained very, very slowly in comparison to the other ones that I'd been equipping with bolt actions and snipers. So, turns out, yes, bolt action snipers, best thing to equip your pawns if you're trying to train up their shooting skill. When it comes to actually downing targets, well, honestly, the information's still a bit iffy on that. The machine pistol may have a slight advantage, but not by much. Charge rifle and assault rifle seem to be a little bit weaker than the others. But like I said, we only tested it across 100 pawns. You'd probably need to test it across 10,000, and maybe that slight error in data might just disappear. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed, and good luck.